Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button if you like the way any topics are being broken down or discussed here on the channel. Look, man, it's another week into this season. I know we just had the draft. Football is not my specialty, so I'm kind of figuring out if I want to do something on that. Boxing is still at a standstill, although we did have some action in Nicaragua and one other location. But I don't want to get into that. I'm sticking with my entertainment and just checked out two things. We're going to get into the new Run the Jewels video for their single Ooh La La for this RTJ 4, as well as last night was the series finale for Homeland. That's season 8, episode 12. So really quickly getting into Ooh La La, which features DJ Premier as well as Greg Nice. Just saw the video, and I'll get to that in just a second. I think I can get a little sound on this one.
I am the guy. First of all, fuck the fucking law. We is fucking raw. Stay talk. Oysters on the half shell. Switch your ball. Like a bitch. And the pussy feet. Still fuck the wall. I'm a dog. I'm a dirty dog. Ha 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 ha. Oh, dirty bastard. Go in your jaw. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all. Got the semi in the hemi. Go and gimme, y'all.
So I just wanted to play a snippet of it. The video is phenomenal, man. It's almost like a carryover or piggybacking on the final scene of the Joker, in a way. But I just read some thoughts. I got an email from Run the Jewels earlier. Not like I'm the only one that gets it, but it's just being a fan and how I've acquired their music in the past. I'm on this email list. I'm sure other fans of the group get this same thing. But I believe it was LP, his thoughts, and he just said this is like the day that the world got rid, and it's apropos in a way if we're looking at what's going on now in this COVID-19 situation. But and you know, all this talk of capitalism, economy, and the safety of citizens across the world versus, you know, making decisions to reopen everything in the name of capitalism and kind of what our economy is based on. So in this video, we've done away with currency, and it's people in the street celebrating and, you know, coming to this centralized area to burn cash as well as credit cards and whatnot. And so everybody's celebrating, you know, essentially there won't be any more classes, you know, middle class, upper class, blah, blah, blah. It'll be some new way, you know, I guess in time, it would some new way of how we revere one another, how we're ranked or classed or whatever will have to happen. But at the moment, people are just celebrating to be freed from all of the way that your liberties or your freedom is limited or stripped away just based on, you know, kind of almost in part because of one's financial literacy a lot of times. So it's just dope. Check it out. I think it's phenomenal. I like I'm a huge fan of LP's production, and just if I could really, my final thoughts on it are, well, let me get into something that was from the first part of the song. But in the third verse, LP comes in with "You Covet Disruption. I got you covered. I'm busting. My brother's a runner. He's crushing. It's no discussion. I used to be Munchkin. I wasn't posed to be nothing. Y'all blanks corrupted or up to something disgusting. My pockets are plump for the season. I love to cuff them. I'm afraid of nothing, but nothingless. Ain't his son? He killing it right here. I like how they keep these verses tight and short. And then Killer Mike on his last verse, I actually might have liked his first verse better, but he says, F a king or a queen and all their loyal subject. I pull my penis out and I piss on their shoes in public. People, we the pirates, the pride of this great republic. No matter what you order, Marscaper, MF, we're what you're stuck with. Sorry, I used to love Bruce, but living my Vida Loca helped me understand I'm probably more of a joker. See, I said it was a joker. It just kind of reminded me of Joker. And then he says, we usher in chaos. Just know that we did it smiling. Hannibal's on the island. Inmates run the asylum. I really think, and it's my personal opinion, man, I really feel like Killer Mike benefits here in rapping with LP. I feel like over the course of as their catalog has grown, he's less reliant on the N-word. And I think the reliance on the N-word hampers a lot of MCs in being interesting in my opinion. And then also in an extension of that, I've just been asking this question for the last several years, man. Like, where are the East Coast dudes or the New York guys who can just rap and make songs? I was listening to What's the Scenario yesterday, and my wife was playing it. And I'm nodding my head. I'm enjoying the beat. I'm enjoying the lyrics, the skills of each dude on there with Dinko D and Charlie Brown and Bus, the young leaders of the new school. And I'm just like, where did all these guys go? How did this individual in New York City just freaking evaporate and no longer exist? So what I like here, man, is that Run the Jewels is able to tap back into that with just an appreciation for the sound that they have, how they stand out individually, music wise. And then these lyrics, they keep around this whole anarchist thing or, being defiant of all the norms and being plugged into the system and all of this stuff. And it's dope to just hear some cats just spitting and making great music that you can enjoy. Now, on the other hand, I am a huge Griselda and Black Soprano family. Now that they're coming on, now that that group is online, spinning off, as an offshoot of Benny the Butcher. When I love all of that stuff, but I just miss a diverse set of options to choose from, and to get to some dude. Lupe has done this over the years. Has been a guy that's just out here rapping and showing his wittiness and cleverness with his sound and whatnot. I don't know, man. I just feel like the closest dude out there might be a Black Thought who's he's in the EP game, working with the different producers, keeping it to like 6 or 7 songs. But he's an older school guy. He's probably in his mid-40s. Where's any young brothers walking around or has the game just kind of just emasculated that type of artist, figuratively speaking? Everybody feels like they just have to be on the street themes and whatnot. And so this is dope. Moving over to the series finale of Homeland. The episode was called Prisoners of War. And I'm going to be honest, man, I was wondering how they could bring this thing home and the scope. Obviously, we had the threat of there being a nuclear war scene, like nuclear attacks, with Pakistan defending its border against the encroachment of U.S. troops, based on the belief that Jalal Haqqani played a role in shooting down his helicopter. I didn't foresee the episode ending like that. I just didn't. But to get into it, coming into this thing, the options out here for Carrie was to kill Saul so that this source of his could be transferred to her, possibly, and she could get that source, that asset, to Yevgeny Gromov, and Russia could take out this person who's been giving up information for decades. And it was just interesting how would these two with this serious bond and Saul is being abundantly loyal to Carrie Mathison and everything. This situation that she's gotten herself in as a result of being put in play by Saul. But now we're here. She's trying to chase down this flight recorder from the helicopter. We know what Russia's asking price is. Saul refuses to give it up, and Carrie sets things in motion to where it looks like she's going to take out Saul to have the transference of this asset from him to her. And of course, they fooled us. She was never going to do that. It's kind of weird, like the CIA and the GRU people or whatever. There's no killing, especially since Quinn has been taken out of the show. But there's no killing. There's just deceptions, lies, and just managing assets and, exchanging and trading information. So Saul was, this GRU team was there looking like they were going to kill him. And then, Carrie says, I had to try. And it's funny because she quickly switches speeds. She mentions they had a contingency plan all along. So I'm tripping last week. Like, how was somebody that's accused of killing the president, how is she traveling and moving? How is she not in custody? But so now that she is in custody, I'm like, well, how the hell did she get to Israel? But then I just thought before I hit record on this, she is a spy. So she goes over to meet Saul's sister, tells her a lie to get her to do something which she knew that only his sister would be able to do, that Saul would have entrusted in her to deliver some information or something, a package or something to Carrie to know what to do moving on in his absence or in his death. And it plays out in her favor. She gets the name, Anna something, the head interpreter for Russia, and she gets the information to Yevgeny, and they do what they need to do, and Russia comes out with the flight recorder. And it's dope how they had the flight recorder sitting on the table, so it kind of gave you a timeline and how this could all be resolved with like 10 minutes left in the show, 10 or 15 minutes, and the war is averted between Pakistan and in the U.S. And then it was like, well, how do we end this thing? And it was just, I didn't see it going there, but I knew they kept it. I knew that Carrie had done too much to, be even if she did avert this war, she couldn't go back home. And so it was just crazy that, her and Yevgeny go off to Russia, and then 2 years later, we see Carrie dressed up for a change and looking normal for once. And not looking bad in her dress, in her dress for the night. Oh, and another shout out to Homeland for showcasing Kamasi Washington, who was the jazz artist who was performing in the Moscow scene here. But as we see, Carrie did defect or whatever to Russia, give up her U.S. citizenship. But she's still working. As we see in the final scene, she gets some information to in essence, she replaces Anna, the deceased asset who had to commit suicide, who had to take her own life at the UN building, and Carrie has basically replaced her in Russia, still turning. Recruiting assets and working them, to be able to provide information back to the United States, as you in the same fashion that they did it before, that Saul and Anna were communicating throughout, for the last 30 years or whatever, using the books and the spine of the books with messages in them. So, phenomenal, man. I thought I didn't know how they could do it. It wasn't over the top. It was somewhat believable. It wrapped up everything nicely. I don't think there were too many loose ends. Nothing jumps out to my mind. A real credit to the people at Homeland, which was just for the most part was a well done series, man. Like I said, somebody told me I was, a very critical dude and whatnot, but I honestly don't have much to complain about with Homeland. Last note, man, my wife has kind of been a peeper in this series. Like, this isn't one that me and her watch together, but over the last couple of weeks, she's been looking over my shoulder and catching most of the episodes and kind of knew what was going on. And she sat there last night and watched the entire finale with me. And she's probably more of a fan of the show than she knows. But she does have some issues with Carrie and Carrie's stilo, if you will, her steez, and how she gets things done. So shout out to Homeland, man. I thought it was phenomenal. Great close to the show. And next week we'll be checking out the start of the next season of Billions. What is it, season 5 for Billions? I think it's season 5. So that's that, man. I'd love to hear anybody's feedback, or if you want to have a bigger discussion on Homeland, leave some comments and whatnot. I'd be over the moon to chop it up about one of the better series that I've been a fan of and followed. My name is Wood again. This is Pay Me No Mind, Sports and Entertainment. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. One.